The economy is crazy and there's absolutely no visibility about what is around the corner. Hi, I'm Suzy Welch. I'm a professor of management practice at NYU Stern School of Business, and I'm here to talk to you about the 4 R's of the future, the 4 skills you have to have no matter what happens in this crazy, wacky, unpredictable economy. It's never been like this before in my long life. It used to be you could sort of see 4 quarters out. You could actually go into a meeting and say, this is what we think we're seeing over the course of the next year with the economy. Forget it. If you go in and present 1 quarter out now, people are like, oh, how do you feel about those numbers? Are you sure about them? That's the way the world is now. It's the velocity of change. It's the speed of change. And so therefore, for my class at NYU, both of my classes actually, both Becoming You and Developing Managerial Skills, I talk about the 4 R's of making yourself future-proof. The first R, you've heard it before, it's reskilling. It's constantly upgrading what you know about what's coming. And you know what? Reskilling is really hard and it's not particularly fun and you're really not doing it unless it's kind of unpleasant. You're constantly upgrading what you know. Okay, here's a question for you. How do you know what you're supposed to know if you can't see what's going on? Well, that means you have to keep on asking people, especially your boss, if you've got one, what is it that I should be learning about? And it puts the onus on you to be reskilling. And where do you learn? Well, there's all sorts of online programs where you can learn new skills, new competencies. Even if you just understand new technologies, you must constantly be reskilling. I'm sorry, I have to break this to you. You cannot count on your company to reskill you. Good companies will invest in their people and reskill them, but not every company is a good company. And I'm sure you know that. Okay. The second R, well, it's not exactly an R. It sounds like an R in it. It's irregular relationships. Look, I hate to tell you this, but when industries go down, all the companies go down together, okay? Because that's how industries go. I was in the newspaper business when digital news came along. We all were looking for jobs, all of us newspaper boys and girls, all right? So it's very important for you to have relationships that are outside your immediate area of expertise, in other industries, in other functions, in other parts of the country. You have to open the aperture of your relationships to include people who don't work and think just like you. How many people do you know? If you're in marketing, how many people do you know in operations? If you're in HR, how many people do you know in tech? This is what I'm talking about. Get to know these people, even if you just know them socially, so that if you run aground in your industry or your function, you have somebody to place a phone call to and say, help me take a look around in your company or your industry. So reskilling, irregular relationships. Let's move on to the third R, and that is relevance. Today, more than ever before, your currency is your currency. Okay, so your worth is what you know, how current you are. Your currency is your currency. That's clever. I came up with it. Your currency is your currency. You have to stay in the conversation. Now, how do you do this? Because it's sort of a bore for me to sit here and just say, stay current, okay? I personally have like an actual watch list of columnists that I follow, of sites that I follow, of data points that I follow. For instance, I watch what the unemployment rates are in China very closely. China doesn't tell the complete truth about those unemployment rates, but when youth unemployment in China goes up, there's trouble for the entire world economy coming. I follow all these different data points. Why? I'm sort of a nerd, okay? But also because I want to stay current. I want to know what's going on in the world. Look, curiosity is something that we're actually born with. How that is as a trait, there's all sorts of amazing studies on it. Google it if you want to know more. But it's actually a skill that's incredibly highly correlated to success, which you can develop and hone. So if you find you're not naturally curious, you can actually work at it. It's sort of like not having good hand-eye coordination. You can work on that also. Curiosity's like that, and I would say go for it if you're not naturally curious. But if you are, develop a list of columnists, in particular, who you agree with and who you disagree with. That really keeps you current, because if you're only listening to people you agree with, what a bore you will become. All right, so do that. It makes me lose my mind. Every week I read people I disagree with. I get very angry, but I'm smarter for it and I'm more current for it. And I have to stay current to be teaching my students. And so it's part of my job, but guess what? It's part of yours too. Okay, the fourth R is resilience. You're needed no matter what. And guess what? You need it now more than ever because the world is a hard place. There's wonderful things in the world. For God's sakes, there's dogs. Okay, so the world has wonderful things in it, but you really need resilience. But I have a totally different definition of resilience than most people, to be honest with you. When I ask my students, what is resilience? Everyone's hand goes up. It's grit, it's perseverance, it's getting up when you've been pushed down again. And all of those things are completely true. That's resilience, but it's only one half of it. The other half of resilience is forgiveness. You have to be able to forgive and let go of the anger that comes with failing or being let down if you want to get back up again. So yes, grit is important, but when you need resilience most, it's because something didn't go the way you wanted. You screwed up, or somebody held you back, your company let you go, your boss was a jerk, and you have feelings of anger and resentment, and those are going to hold you back more than not having grit. So forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of others, every different person has a different way of defining forgiveness, different faith traditions approach forgiveness differently. Take your pick. Just let it go, forgive, and pick yourself up again. And that's resilience. It's a 1-2 punch. You can't do one without the other. So the 4 R's again, just to recap: reskilling, irregular relationships, relevance, and resilience. And those together will future-proof you as much as you can be future-proofed, because the world is a hard and complicated place. We're all going to get knocked down and get ourselves up again. That's what the resilience part is about. But with these 4 R's in your toolkit, you're going to be ahead of the game, I think, and I really hope you are. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, please. You can subscribe to my channel. You can go visit my website at SuzyWelch.com, get my newsletter, follow me on LinkedIn, all those things. I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for listening.